Where's my intro music at? God dang it. What's going on, you guys? Big Bob.
That's it. I'm John, Big John, whatever you want to call me.
Well, welcome to Bikes, Barbells, and Beers. I will get that right without pausing one day. This is still a new podcast.
That's it.
I don't care. I'm still not used to the name.
Well, the thing about some of the names that we came up with that we didn't use that were kind of funny, like biceps and bikes.
Cheesy. You know what's funny? That's cheesy, but this we hadn't even released these shirts yet, and I've been hit so many times.
Dude, that would have been, we spent like weeks trying to think of the name, and somehow that name eluded us, which would have been perfect.
And so this I did my research. It's been made. No one's really pushed it. But the way I came up with this is I just put on a hashtag on Instagram one day. I was like, oh, so I looked it up. Yeah, it's taken, but no one's going to push it like I'm going to push it. So yeah, it's mine.
Well, the one thing that we were trying to do with the name that we currently have, Bikes, Barbells, and Beer, was to basically kind of bring the two worlds together.
Right.
Because obviously people that are riding bikes, they want to be able to have their beers.
Yes.
And unfortunately, most people think that it's really hard to hybrid those two worlds, and it's really not. It's just informationally based. Once you have the proper information, it's not a difficult task at all.
I think, because people will be like, you drink? I'm like, yeah, I'm not supposed to. And they're like, oh, don't you work out? I'm like, yeah. And? They don't. Yeah, they think like, oh my God, you're a health freak or whatever it is, and it's like, no, actually, I'm not a health freak. You want to get technical? I love feeling good. I love looking good, and not only that makes me a health freak, it just makes me someone who wants to do better and be better for themselves, right? And for my family and for everything we do.
Yeah. I mean, as a whole, I'm not a drinker. But I really enjoy having beers, But I'm not a guy that's going to go get drunk by any means,
right.
But to be able to bring the two worlds together is not difficult. I do it with clients all the time. They come to me and say, "Look, here's my goals, but I don't want to give away my weekend fun."
Right.
Not a problem. It's just a matter of bridging the two together and still getting the results you want and having the fun you want. And the best part is you have more fun when you're actually. When you have more energy, when you're in better shape anyway.
Right.
So anyway, that's the whole name, which we finally are saying properly on the air.
I mean, it's taking a little bit worse again. It'll become Bikes, Barbells, Beers.
That's it. I love it. So what are we going to talk about today, brother?
So today we're going to talk about something that I think I have a problem with, and maybe one or two of you might, is time management.
Yeah. That's a term that we all hear is "I don't have time."
Right.
I mean, that's a very common phrase.
Now, because I've come across some people, just in general, not in my community or in the bodybuilding community, just in general, who say, "I don't have time." This guy may work, for example, I know guys like this, 12 hours a day. They're a coach for their kids' baseball team. Mm-hmm. They got to get home to their wife. By the time they get home, it's 8, 9. They got to be up at 3, 4 in the morning. Mm-hmm. I could sit there and be like, this is me. Maybe I'm looking at it wrong and be like, damn, dude, you don't have time. Or do you really want to wake up at 2 in the morning to go work out for an hour and then get your 16-hour day started? I don't know.
Well, I mean, not having time, there's no question that time is valuable. And that's one thing I think that people tend to not look at enough is that, I mean, we're all going to die. Mm-hmm. It means we have limited time.
Right.
And so what I look at from the time management standpoint, the better I manage my time, the more life I get to live before I die. Because it's like a lot of times people say, I don't have time, and that's the reason they choose not to do things.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
You ever hear people say, I don't have time, but then, they're not really doing much with the time they don't have, or the time they do have, they're not doing much with, So, but I think time management is something that we can all be better at.
Right.
And then what I like to say is time creation. You think about it, there's two types of people. And a lot of times people don't even know what type of person they are. And if you don't know, it's pretty much guarantee you're a time destroyer, because there's time creators and time destroyers.
Okay.
Time creators are the ones that are going to manage time, and they'll try to create time. Create time is obviously using your management skills to make sure you're not wasting time. Because if you think about it, there's so many places in life where there's 15 minutes here, there's 10 minutes there, and they're spread all through your day. Well, if you gathered those up, you got 90 minutes of time.
Right.
You know, but not letting those kind of. But anyway, so there's the time creators, which are the really, really the time managers. And then there's the people that kind of wake up and go through their day and go through the day and they come home and they go to bed. Usually those people are not managing time enough. And they're the time destroyers. So if you don't manage time or you haven't tried to manage time yet, just being aware is a huge step, you know? I mean, for me, here's one of the tricks that I use is that generally speaking, if you look at someone's day, the evening time is where most of the time is going to be wasted. Right? So you don't hear people getting up at 4:30 in the morning and laying on the couch watching TV. So the simplest way to do this, if you really just want a simple cut and dried way to really make a big change, is get up early. And when you get up early, you use that time to be productive. Let's just say that you normally have to get up, say, at 7 o'clock. Let's say you get up at if you really want to take a big chunk, get up at 6 or get up at 5.
Okay.
But have things that you're going to do with your time so that you're using that time productively. Then 7 o'clock, you start your normal routine. Well, obviously you've been up earlier, so you're going to go to bed earlier.
So it all comes in.
Yeah, so basically the scale just kind of slides.
Right.
So you get up, you're productive with that time. You go about your day, and then, you know, let's just say that normally you go to bed at, say, 10 o'clock, and 8 to 10 is a lot of wasted time.
Right.
Well, you're going to go to bed at 8 o'clock because you got up 2 hours early. You got up at 5 instead of 7. So just that's one of my tricks. Right. Is that when I'm up early, I just love to get up early and kick ass.
Yeah.
Something about that. I just love getting up before the sun. I just feel like I got a jump start on the world. I like that. That's me.
I'm the same way.
But the difference is when I'm up early, I fall asleep early.
That's not the difference with me.
So that's, for me, that's a really easy way to do it.
Right.
So that's one method. But ultimately, when it comes down to it, not having time, that's a really, really big phrase that gets thrown around. And ultimately, in many cases, not all cases, it's an excuse.
Right.
You know? And it's very difficult to argue with someone if they don't have time and they have things they have to do because those things are important to them. You know, so realistically, what has to happen is you have to help a person understand that there is more time and help them find it, which a lot of times is not it's an easy task.
Right.
But and what do you see when you see people saying they don't have time? What are you seeing?
Well, you know, right now, for myself, they changed the school schedules, right?
Okay.
So now they go in later and get out later.
Okay.
So they rocked my world because before I was getting to the gym, say about at least by 3, I can't get there till close to 5. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I gotta wait 2 hours before I can even go. It's gotta pick up the kids. By the time I get there, it's gonna be 5:30. I'm like, I don't got time for this. I'm like, but I've been going because I have to go. Not that I have to go, but sorry guys, we got a little timer issue here.
Well, you have to go. You want to go.
I want to go.
Yes.
But it's like, okay, do I sit here? I already know. It's 5 o'clock. I get there at 5:30, or I could wait till 7:30 and go, I should have just went. I did absolutely nothing but eat grapes and have chips for 2.5 hours.
And so there's the time right there where life switches, your schedule gets changed, you got this block of time.
Right.
And then at that point, there's this chunk of wasted time. Another thing that I always like to do with that is I always have tasks that, you know, it can be like something I'll be doing on my phone, you know, not watching social media, you know, taking notes or doing something and working on something that I'm interested in, or, you know, listening to some sort of learning or listening to it. But ultimately, I have things that I have that I can always access if somehow a block of time gets thrown in front of me where I can't do what I want to do or I can't do what I'm supposed to do, because that time is valuable.
Right.
And there's nothing. Think about how debilitating it is when you know you got to do something, like you're talking about going to the gym. You got moved back 2 hours and you just waited for 2 hours, and you're just like, even going to the gym's frustrating now.
Right.
You know?
And I hate being rushed. Not that I'm there for a long time, but if my wife says, "Hey, we got to get the kids at 3:30," and it's 2, I could be done. But in my mind, now I'm trying to be done before 3 instead of 3:30. So I'm just like, what I do is wait until I can actually go. So it's just like,
yeah, and it's ultimately, you know, using time. That's another thing too, is if you let time kind of drift away because you didn't use it productively. Ultimately, there's things that you want to do, things you have to do, And using time for both of those efficiently is really the key.
Right.
You know,
Right.
it's time is the thing that I always fall back on is that we don't often think, we're going to die. And if you were to calculate how many days you have to live, you think about it's long life. When you break it down into little pieces, like, man, I want to use these little bits of time more efficiently because, who doesn't want to live life? We want to live life.
And you know what? We're actually not here for a long time.
No,
if you think about it,
hell
really
no,
not.
hell no. When you're young, it seems like you got nothing but time. Time's, oh my God, is 3 more months till Christmas.
That was forever.
Yeah.
Now, can't wait till Christmas is over.
It's the Christmas Eve, and you can't fall asleep fast enough. It's like 2 years to fall asleep.
2 years.
But as we get older, time just starts to vanish. Bam.
Oh, man.
And that's the whole thing. Is like, okay, let's start to look at time as more of a commodity.
Right.
It's like you think about. We look at money as a commodity. We want to take care of it so that it'll take care of us. Well, time's kind of the same thing,
Yeah.
But the time, I don't know, that would be one of those things where I would say a person could look at their life and figure they could probably just look at an average day and find a way to gather up an extra hour without having too much trouble.
Easy. It's not easy because I do have a problem managing time, but I still manage to get things done. I may not be that 1, 2, 3, or 3:30, but I get it done. Maybe it's the wrong way, but it works, and I knock it out. So.
Yeah. The way that I do it is literally I have a book, and it's actually right over there. It comes with me everywhere. And at the end of today, what I'll do is because I have my day all planned out, I know that I'm going to be here during this time. So at the end of today, before I go to bed, I take today and I basically cross off the things that are done and things that didn't get done that were not time sensitive. I put to tomorrow. I look at tomorrow and I write down where I'm going to be. I even write down the time I'm going to train. I know when I'm going to train every day, but I still write it down because it helps me understand where I'm going to be with my time throughout the day. So the term we call journaling, if you will, which sounds kind of goofy. To me, it's more scheduling.
You want to see my diary?
Yes. Yeah. But that for me, that's the way that I manage time.
Okay.
Because if I don't write it down, I become a time destroyer really fast. And I'm happier knowing that I've scheduled time to do nothing.
Right.
Than just somehow find myself doing nothing.
One thing I have been doing ever since we had that one talk is I have been putting my alarms for whatever it is.
Dude, does that help?
Even my wife be like, don't forget to pick up the medicine. So I'll be like, if I'm off work at 3, at 2:55, I'm putting, do not forget to pick up medicine.
I'm telling you right now.
that shit works.
That's another thing with on top of my schedule. I'd say I probably have on a daily basis, probably close to double digits.
Wow.
Alarms that go off. I have an alarm that 2 different alarms in the morning. I always wake up before my alarms.
Okay.
That's part of knowing that I have my circadian rhythm. Circadian rhythm is your sleep schedule.
Okay.
If it's on, I'll wake up just before the alarm. But ultimately, I have alarms it's just keeping me on track.
Yeah.
An alarm goes off, it tells me, okay, you got to change gears and do this. So a lot of times, my journal or my book,
journaling book,
it's there for me to take notes and write in, but it's not going to tell me to do something unless I'm looking at it. Alarm, bam. Isn't that helpful?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Yeah, and with these phones now, you can literally set up an alarm to go off every day at the same time.
Yep.
You can have it go off
I know. I get in trouble.
Tuesdays and Thursdays. You can have it do whatever you want. So the alarm is a great trick. Great trick.
It is because
Yeah.
I use the hell out of it. I really do.
Yeah.
Even
Huge.
for I would see I have one right here. Oh, I think now I gotta look because that was bugging me. Let me see. So I got one. Get the monster from the freezer. Get permits. See, have all that stuff because if not, I'll forget about it.
Literally.
And if I forget about it, I get in trouble.
And if my phone was up here, I would have to scroll down to see them all.
Yeah.
But some of them don't go off every day.
Right.
It just depends on what it is. But yeah, alarms is another huge trick. with time management. But think about it like this, guys. If you can learn to just manage time and have an extra, say, hour a day to do something you want to do,
Right.
that's huge.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
An hour a day, to be able to say, oh, I'm gonna take this hour, I'm gonna go to the gym, or I'm gonna take this hour work on my bike, or I'm gonna take this hour to clean my bike, or whatever. Take this hour to spend with my kids.
Right. Right.
I mean, time is precious.
Definitely.
When you can gather it, you can manage it, control it, you're gonna be a happier person.
Hell yeah. And I'm
You know,
learning.
what do you think when strip it all away? Bikes, Barbells, beers, bikes, or whatever the hell our name is. You think about everything in life.
Right.
All we want to be is happy. Happiness is really the bottom line.
Right.
And we live in a world where time kind of controls. We wake up and while we look at the clock.
Yep.
So if you can take the time portion, of your life and be more efficient with it, it's going to make you a happier person.
And
So-
it does. Like I said, I don't have a formula. That's me. I probably should, but I still make it happen. But if writing it down, alarms, whatever it may be.
Well, and I'll tell you, brother, I have formulas. I've been using these formulas for fucking 30 years.
I tried the book. They went and bought a thing, like, after we talked about that.
Yeah.
I think I wrote it once. I was like,
Well, it's a habit thing. You have to use it enough to make it a habit.
well, with me, like you said you'll scratch off the things that weren't time consuming. Well, the way I
We're
am.
time sensitive.
Sensitive, sorry.
Yes.
Sensitive. Shit, yeah. Get there. I just ruined that whole topic. But my thing is like, no, if it's on here, I have to do it. So it's like I gotta learn how to be like.
And that's
you know
part
what?
of it. I used to be this when I was young. If I wrote it on my to-do list, it was like I'd find myself doing things half-assed because I needed to get them done. I'm like,
Right.
wait a minute, you're working against the whole idea here. The whole idea is to use this list. Like when I look at the list of things I'm supposed to do for the day, some of them I know that are not time sensitive. Hell, I might just put them the next day right away. That way I'm not looking at it again.
So you already.
Yeah, like, okay, I'm pretty busy today. I'm not going to be able to get to this. Let's put this to tomorrow. Get it out of the way.
Right.
Because that's what fixed the problem that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because if it was looking at me, I had to do it. And then I was trying to do too much and I was doing it I wasn't doing the job well. And that's
Right.
worse than not doing it at all. You're better off to wait to do it well than to just do it and not do it right.
So what tip could you give, the listeners, the viewers on time management? You got the book, the alarms. Is there anything else, or is it pretty much practice it till it becomes like anything else, right? Like eating, working out.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question. We've talked about a handful of things here, but I think it's all going to come down to everybody is going to have something that's going to speak to them the most. That makes better sense. Like some of you guys might thinking, man, I'm just going to get up an hour early, use that first hour of my day to get the shit done that I'm not getting done, and then I'll fall asleep an hour early. That's a real simple fix. Other you guys might think want to be more, attack it a little more. Okay, I'm going to use the alarms. The alarms is a real easy one. I mean, that worked great for you.
It works, yeah. That worked for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Painless.
The book, that one is a little bit more. It's a little harder to create that habit because it's a little bit more complex.
Right.
But the thing is this. Anytime you're taking a step towards doing something new, just take the first step. Start off with, okay, well, I'm going to do alarms, or I'm going to get up early, or whatever it is. Because once you start to do it, you'll start to understand it a little bit more.
Right.
I think the saying was, it was actually Don Shula, the most winning NFL coach ever. One of his big quotes was, the first step that stops most people is the first one. So
Hello.
so literally, that being said, if some of the stuff talking about time sounds interesting to you, I would say just pick one of these things that we've been talking about that kind of that resonates the most with you and give it a try. And then when I say give it a try, give it a college try. Don't just do it and quit.
Right.
If you do something for a couple of weeks, you'll start to see it. The habit will form. A habit, just so everybody understands, it's a conscious thought and an action. And you do that conscious thought with an action enough times. Obviously, the amount of times is different for everyone. It becomes a subconscious action, and you don't have to consciously think about it. It's like we talked about in other episodes, like taking a piss. You don't have to plan to take a piss. You think, okay, you feel you get a little notification, you got to pee soon,
Right.
so you kind of wander off and take a piss. It's when you're a kid, you have to be trained. Like I was one of those. I pissed my pants all the time because I wasn't on top of the signal,
Right.
on top of the signal enough.
You didn't understand that feeling yet.
Yeah, exactly. But the habit forming of any of these methods is going to take a few weeks, and at that point, it'll start to become more of a subconscious action rather than a conscious thought to do it. And that's the key, really, when it comes down to it. Anything that you want to do better or easier, it's just about creating a habit around the action.
Creating a habit.
Yeah, habits are everything. I mean, you're not getting off the topic here, but I mean, you can really understand somebody by the habits they have or the habits they don't have.
Wow. It's like the first step.
Yeah, that's it. That's
the
it.
first step.
That's it. So that being said, I would say, yeah, this whole talk was us bullshitting about time.
Yeah.
And when it comes down to it, we want time to train. We want time to do all the shit we want.
Right.
A little time management will do the trick.
Do the trick. And you guys, if you're watching or listening to this, let us know about some topics you want to hear about.
Yes.
This is real life stuff. This isn't made up. This isn't. We're just two normal dudes having a good time who brought our worlds together and
it.
gonna have some fun.
And on that level, Julio was saying, if you guys have any like fitness myths or wives' tales that you want debunked, send them in, man. I'm telling you, there is so much bullshit floating around there that I can bust this shit wide open for you to explain what really going on. It'd be very helpful.
Well, you guys, hope you enjoyed this episode of Bikes, Barbells, and Beers. Huh? You like that? All right, we'll talk to you soon.
See you next time.
Later.